Good morning, everyone. My name is Thomas D. Ogburn, and I would like to speak with you guys this morning about the importance of buying local. Now, when I say buying local, I'm referring to the majority of convenience stores and retail stores in your area, and locally, particularly in your city or region, not to a state level. But buying local is very important because obviously your goal as a customer in your area is to keep your money local. The more money you keep local, the better off your local economy is. Now, retail stores have recently struggled in comparison with big box stores. And when I say big box store, I'm referring to places like Walmart, i.e. Target, and then of course you've got your sporting goods stores like Dick's Sporting Goods and Academy Sports or Sports Authority. These guys, what they do, they're not specializing in anything. They're selling as many products as they can for a lower price. And the way they're able to do that is by increasing their inventory numbers. And when they increase their inventory numbers, they're able to drop the price and just sell more than your local convenience store, your local retail store, which it's obviously hard for the local retail store to compete with that. Now, a main issue is the startup of the retail store. Now, these small retail stores, often only containing 10 to 15 employees or 20 employees, it's hard for the owner of that retail store to compete with someone who has 300 or 400 employees like a local Walmart. And the startup is obviously very, very difficult because you can't compete with the prices. The retail owner can't compete with the prices of the local Walmart. So I want to go ahead and get into some different associations. We'll start with one. This association is known as the SCACS, and that is the South Carolina Association of Convenience Stores. Now, the SCACS states that there is 3,344 convenience stores in South Carolina, one store per 1,364 people, providing 36,000 jobs across the state. Now, obviously, this is a big deal. Local employment, obviously, as I said before, helps boost your local economy, making your local economy stronger, which is great in the long run, obviously, and in the short run. And let's look at some states. Startups of a small retail level store are nearly impossible in the presence of large companies. Like I stated before, economies dominated by large companies have led to the decline in the formation of new businesses that fuel economic growth. So obviously I already said that, but I want to look at some key statistics. Over the past 10 years alone, the share of firms that are only 1 year old have fallen by nearly half as they struggle to compete with big box stores. Business deaths now actually exceed business births for the local retail stores, as many of them can't compete with these large corporations, these big box stores. And another externality to these retail stores is the inequality levels of employment. So if you look at the inequality levels, what you're looking at, as far as the big box stores, places like Walmart and Target, like I stated before, your lower level employment capabilities, say somebody who's in charge of mopping at the end of the night, or not necessarily a management level. Let's just say a lower end job at Walmart, their salaries or their hourly wage is very, very low, very low. Compared to a retail store, a local retail store, somebody who's in charge of bagging, say like a local grocery store, a bag boy or a bag girl at the local grocery store is probably going to get paid better than someone at a larger corporation or at a big box store. Now, on the other hand, obviously a CEO or a manager of a big box store is going to make way more money per year than a manager of a local retail store, which causes a large inequality in the economy. It's just not consistent. So let's look at the next thing. Economic returns is also a big thing. According to the British Columbia admissions of the Canadian Union of Public Employees, independent retail stores generate much more money for the local economy. Studies show that for every $1 million in sales generated by independent retail stores, these stores generated over $450,000 in local economic activity. Now, let's compare this with big box stores. On the other hand, large chains only generate around $170,000 in economic activity for every $1 million in sales, which is way less than half of the local retail stores. Which, like I said before, it's very important that you spend your money local because it stays in your local economy and helps other things grow in the future. Perhaps the most important characteristic of locally owned businesses is job sustainability. Locally owned businesses employ more people over unit of sales and retain more employees during economic downturns, while big box retailers decrease the number of retail jobs in the region. A study conducted by economists of Yale University found that, in fact, the high levels of unemployment in small businesses are much less than the high levels of unemployment in larger businesses. And if you look at different times like the 2007-2008 recession, these large companies, they're firing 100 or 150 people at a time, which obviously causes a huge economic downturn both locally, regionally, and internationally, which is obviously not what we want. Whereas these local retail stores who employ, say, 10, 15, 20 employees, they don't have an issue with this because they don't have to draw back as much when they, incorporate an issue, whether it's a recession or a downturn in the economy. It's a little bit easier for them to maintain because they're smaller. And it's not as bad on the economy in the long run if you have a large number of these small retail stores specifying in different things. So, guys and girls, I really encourage you all to buy locally. Go to your local food market and purchase local vegetables. Obviously, food is another big thing. Local vegetables, local fruits, local meats, they spend less time in transportation and they're often in a whole lot better shape when you eat them than they would be if they were shipped across the United States going to a place like I said, Walmart or Target. So please do your best in the long run to shop locally and keep your money in the local economy. And I appreciate everybody's time.